Okay, students, today we are starting upthrust in fluids and Archimedes principle. Now, the first we'll go through these 3 points. The first thing is that what is upthrust, or also known as buoyant force, and since it is a force, so its SI unit is Newton and kilogram force or kilogram force. Then we'll see characteristic properties of upthrust, and then we'll see reason for upthrust. Now, what is upthrust? Upthrust means that when a body is partially or wholly immersed in a fluid, now fluid means liquid or gas, then that body always experiences an upward force. And this upward force experienced by a body when it is partially or wholly immersed in a fluid, that is called upthrust. Now, we all experience this upthrust, that even when we dip in a swimming pool or in a river or in a pond, now as soon as we dip in that water, we feel that our body becomes little bit lighter. We experience that our body is lighter, and we experience an upward push by the liquid. Means here it is water. Even if we immerse a body, any body, say a block, and we just hold it inside the liquid, you will experience constantly there is an upward push. So that means there is always an upward force that this liquid gives to this body. And this upward force, now if it is wholly immersed or if it is partially immersed, in every case, now it can be partially immersed like this. Now whether it's a wholly immersed or partially immersed, it always experiences an upward force given by this fluid, by this liquid. And this upward force is generally we say as upthrust or we say as buoyant force. And as I've told you that the SI unit is Newton, because upthrust is, thrust means it is force. So buoyant force or upthrust, the SI unit is Newton or kilogram force. Now, characteristic properties of upthrust. Now, what is the characteristics property of upthrust? The first characteristic property is that the larger the volume of the body immersed, greater will be the upthrust. That means larger the volume of the immersed part. Now suppose these two are the same body. Now in this case you can say there the upthrust is less, and in this case the upthrust will be more, because here the body is partially immersed, so only this part is immersed, so the volume of the immersed part is less here, and here it is wholly immersed, so here the volume of the immersed part is greater. So the characteristic property of upthrust is larger the volume of immersed part, greater is the upthrust. So you can understand that if I take a body and immerse it this much, then I will experience lesser upthrust, and then if I push it further inside, the greater I push it further inside, more upthrust I will experience. And you can experience it more if you take a lighter body, say a plastic bottle. If you take, you can feel it more. Now if you take a plastic bottle, say this is the plastic bottle. Now if you immerse this plastic bottle only partially, okay, an empty plastic bottle, then you can feel an upthrust. Now if you press this bottle little bit further downward, and if you immerse it in this way forcefully means you are holding it, otherwise if you leave it will again fly up and it will float. And if you forcefully if you immerse it, here also you are experiencing an upthrust, say F1. Here also you are experiencing upthrust F2, but F2 will be greater than F1 because in this case the immersed part is more. So that is the first characteristic. Larger the volume of the immersed part, greater will be the upthrust. Okay, so that is the first. Next is, more the density of the fluid, greater the density. Okay, more the density of the fluid, greater will be the upthrust. For the same volume of immersed part. Now suppose, say this is water, and say suppose this is mercury. Density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube and density of mercury is 13.6 gram per centimeter cube. Now suppose this is a particular body. Now when I immerse this body in water, then I will experience an upthrust. And when I immerse the same body in mercury, here also I will experience upthrust. Here in both cases the volume of the immersed part is same, but still in this case the F2 will be greater than F1. The density of mercury is greater than density of water, so therefore the upthrust experienced inside mercury will be greater than the upthrust experienced in water. So that is the second point, that more the greater the density of the fluid, greater will be the upthrust for the same volume of the immersed part. Okay. Okay, now for point number 3, I am rubbing this first. And the third characteristic is that the upthrust acts vertically upward through the center of buoyancy. Center of buoyancy you can say, that is the center of gravity of the displaced fluid. Now what is center of buoyancy? Now first, center of buoyancy means it is the center of gravity of the displaced fluid. Now first of all you have to also understand center of gravity is what. Now center of gravity of a body is the geometric center of the body, where the total weight of the body acts. Now that means what? Suppose say this is a body, a cylinder. And suppose the weight of the cylinder is 10 GF. What is weight? Weight is the gravitational force. Acting on a body. So when I say the weight of this body is 10 GF, try to understand the center of gravity of this body is this. Okay, the geometric center of the body is called the center of gravity. That means, now if I look at it in this way, the earth is pulling this body with a force of 10 GF in the downward direction. So say this is the cylinder and the weight of this pen, of this marker is 10 GF. That means the earth is, when earth is pulling this body with a force of 10 GF. So that is the weight. And therefore when you take this pen to space, there is no gravitational force. And there the weight of the body will be zero, no weight. But here on earth, the weight of this pen is 10 GF. That means the earth is pulling this body with a force of 10 GF. And this earth is pulling this body from which point? It always pulls the body from the center of gravity. Okay, so for your level, it is better to understand up to this much. Now when you go to higher classes, you will understand about center of gravity more. And that is the reason, if you see here, that is the reason, if you see, if I can balance this pen exactly at the center of gravity on my finger or any like object, if I can take it properly like this, so I can balance it. So that means the center of gravity is here and it is balancing on my finger, and therefore it is not falling. Right? Now try to understand, if I just displace the pen, now you will see the pen is falling in this side. It will fall because the earth is pulling from the center of gravity. And now if I put the center of gravity on that side, you see that will fall that side. So that means the earth is pulling from this part. So that is called the center of gravity of the body. So every body has a center of gravity. Okay? And what is center of buoyancy? Center of buoyancy is the center of gravity of the displaced liquid. You know, when you immerse this liquid, immerse this body displaces this amount of liquid equal to its volume. That liquid also have a center of gravity. That center of gravity of that liquid, displaced liquid, is called center of buoyancy. Okay, now try to understand. In this case, when the body is fully immersed, the center of gravity of the body and the center of buoyancy of the liquid is at the same point. Now imagine I remove this body. When I remove this body, so imagine when I remove this body, that means this much water is displaced. Means when I am inserting this body, this quantity of water is displaced, and the center of gravity of that liquid, this much liquid, is here. So that is center of buoyancy. Now when I put this body here, then when the body comes here, the same B and G are at the same point, and from G means center of gravity, the weight acts downward. So the weight of the body acts downward through the center of gravity, and the upthrust act upward from the center of buoyancy. And coincidentally in this case, the center of gravity and center of buoyancy is same, so that means I can say upthrust or buoyant force is acting from this point. That's the center of buoyancy, and the weight of the body is acting downward from the center of gravity of that body. But in this case, the center of gravity and center of buoyancy will be different. Okay, so try to understand here again. Now this happens in case of a floating body. Now this is a sinking body. The body is sinking. So the center of gravity of the body and the center of buoyancy lie on the same point. But now this body is floating. Okay, now suppose this body is floating in this way. So the center of gravity is this G, sorry, not upward, G, and from the center of gravity the weight of the body acts downward. So this is W, and naturally the center of buoyancy will be the center of gravity of the displaced liquid. So only here this much liquid is displaced. Now this much liquid has a center of gravity, and that center of gravity is the center of buoyancy. Now suppose the center of buoyancy of this is lies here. You understand what I am telling? This point. But here you can see the center of gravity and the center of buoyancy are not acting not on the same point. Now from G the downward force is acting, that is the gravitational force or the weight of the body, and from B vertically upward the center of buoyancy is acting. So that is the third point. Understand? So the upthrust act vertically upward through the center of buoyancy, and that means the center of buoyancy is the center of gravity of the displaced fluid. So that is the characteristic properties of upthrust. Okay. And now we'll go for the reason for upthrust. What is the reason? Why there is upthrust? Why there is no down thrust? Why there is no side thrust? But only why we experience an upthrust? Now consider a body, a block say, which is immersed. Okay, it is immersed. Now let this upper surface, now first of all you try to understand that when a body is immersed, pressure due to this liquid is experiencing on the body in all direction. You have studied in pressure chapter, the pressure acts in all direction. The first thing is that what? Pressure in fluids acts in all direction. So we have studied this. Pressure is same at a point in all direction. And the third thing is that pressure in fluids increases with depth from the free surface. So if we understand this 3 point, we can understand the reason of upthrust. So we can understand, you see the pressure is acting in this way, pressure acts in this way, pressure also acts in this way. So in all this case the pressure is acting. So here the pressure is acting, here, 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 in all direction pressure is acting. Now this sideward pressure acting at every point, this pressure is called lateral pressure. The lateral pressure. Now this lateral pressure neutralizes each other from both sides. Why? Because suppose at this point, if the pressure is acting in this direction, then on the other side at the same height, another pressure is acting in this direction also. So this pressure and this pressure is neutralizing each other, because they are at the same depth So this point is at the same depth, this point is also at the same depth. So this pressure and this pressure, they are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, and therefore this pressure and this pressure is neutralizing each other. Now there are infinite points. In these infinite points, this pressure is acting here and another pressure is acting from the other side also. So all this pressure, you can understand, all this pressure from this side and this side, they are neutralizing each other. Okay, so so that means sideward there is no unbalanced pressure. This side, whatever pressure the body is experiencing, from the other side in the opposite direction the body is experiencing the same pressure. So therefore they are neutralizing each other. Now see what happens to this upper side and the lower surface. Upper surface and the lower surface. Okay, so I'm just cleaning it. Now similarly, pressure is acting here also on the upper surface. In which direction? In the downward direction. And another pressure is acting in the upward direction on the lower surface. So let it be P2. Now this P1 is acting on this upper surface. In which direction? In this. So there is a pressure. And this upper surface is at the lower depth, lesser depths, because say this is H1. So this surface is at a lesser depth. And when I talk about P2, this P2 is at the greater depth H2, because you know H2 is greater than H1. So this pressure, this P2 will be greater than P1. So ultimately, you know, in case of lateral pressure, they were neutralizing each other. But here what is happening, this P2 is greater, which is acting on the lower surface. In which direction? Upward direction. And the P1 is lesser, which is at the lesser depth. And if you know, because pressure is equal to force by area, and we can also say force is equal to pressure into area. So if you apply a pressure on a body, a force will be experienced. So due to this pressure P1, a force F1 will be experienced, and the direction of F1 will be this downward. So there will be a downward thrust due to this P1, and this F1 will be pressure into area. Let the area of the cross section be A. I am taking that area. Okay, this area as A, area of the surface. So due to this P1, this downward, the pressure which is acting on the upper surface, a thrust will be produced, and the thrust will be in which direction? Downward. So and the magnitude of the thrust will be what? F1 will be equal to P1 into A, pressure into area. And due to this P2, another thrust will be acting on this surface, F2, in which direction? Upward direction. So we can say that F2 will be equal to P2 into A. Now since P2 is greater than P1, we know this pressure was greater than P1. Therefore we can say F2 is greater than F1. Therefore we can say this force is greater than this force, and this F1 was acting in the downward direction and the F2 was acting in the upward direction. So on this body there is a downward thrust and there is an upward thrust, but the upward thrust is greater than the downward thrust. So there will be a net thrust. Net thrust in which direction? In upward direction. The net thrust, the direction of the net thrust will be in the upward direction, and that is upthrust, right? And that upthrust will be naturally equals to F2 minus F1. So this is the main reason for upthrust. Understand? Okay. Okay. Now the formula for upthrust is actually is equal to V rho g. That actually means upthrust. For calculating upthrust, we use this formula V rho g. That means it is equal to the volume of the immersed part or volume of liquid displaced. Because you can understand, volume of immersed part is equal to volume of liquid displaced into density of liquid into acceleration due to gravity of that place. So simply we say V rho g, where V means the volume of immersed part or volume of liquid displaced, rho L means density of liquid, G means acceleration due to gravity, and upthrust is also equals to weight of liquid displaced. Now we can prove this mathematically. Now consider a vessel immersed in a liquid. So this is immersed in a liquid like this. And let this area of the cross section means this and this. Okay. So let the vessel be in fact say PQRS, and let the area of cross section of the vessel be A. So we have taken this area as A. Let the upper surface be at a height of, at a depth of, in fact, depth of H1 from the free surface, and let the lower surface at a depth of H2, okay, from the free surface, as I have explained to you in the previous also. And let the height of the vessel, the height of the original vessel be H. So this is the height. This upper surface is at a depth of H1, lower surface is at H2. So simply we can say that this H equals to H2 minus H1, right? So remember this, and we have taken the cross section A. So as I have already explained to you in third point, that causes of upthrust. First of all, lateral pressure will neutralize each other. So the first thing is that the lateral pressure neutralizes each other, because the pressure is same at all point at the same depth. But the pressure P1 Now pressure P1 acting downward on the upper surface. So a pressure will be acting downward by this liquid, that is P1 on the upper surface, and in this case we can say P1, pressure is equal to H rho G, the height from the free surface, that is H1. Density we have taken, let the area of cross section be A, and density, so we have to label all this. Density of the liquid is equal to rho. So we have taken the density of the liquid as rho. So this P1 will be what? P1 will be H1 into rho into G. Now due to P1 a downward thrust, right? Downward thrust F1 will be experienced on the upper surface. So and F1 will be experienced on the upper surface in the downward direction, and where here F1 will be what? This force will be equals to pressure into area, that is P1 into A, right? P1 is what? H1 rho G, and hence we get F1 as H1 rho G A, right? So this is number 1. Again the pressure P2, acting upward on the lower surface. So acting upward on the lower surface. So another pressure, naturally it is acting in this direction, okay, P2. And in this case P2 will be equal to H2 rho G, because the surface, this height is at H2 depth. So this pressure is H2 rho G, and due to P2 an upward thrust will be experienced. Upward thrust F2 will be experienced. Experienced where? On the lower surface. So an F2 will be experienced on the lower surface here, so that force in the upward direction, and where we can say F2 equals to pressure into area, so it will be P2 into A, and P2 means H2 rho G into A. So hence we can say therefore net upward thrust will be there. Why? So better to say, since we can say that P2 is greater than P1, therefore I can say F2 is greater than F1. Hence net upward force, and that is upthrust. Let that be F, upthrust. And this upthrust is equal to what? Upthrust is equal to F2 minus F1, and F2 minus F1 means H2 rho Ga minus H1 rho Ga, right? Now if I take rho Ga common, right? Rho Ga and rho Ga common, I get it is H2 minus H1, and therefore I say rho Ga into H, where H means this height, and area into height of a body means volume of a body is area into height. So finally we can say it is V into rho into G. Okay, so A into V into rho into G, where this V means the volume of the body and the volume of the body means volume of the liquid displaced. G means rho means density of the liquid and G means acceleration due to gravity. So we have proved this, and now we have to also prove that it is also equals to weight of the liquid displaced. Okay, now see here. So finally we got what? Upthrust is equal to volume of liquid displaced into density of liquid into G. Now volume of liquid displaced into density of liquid means mass of liquid displaced into G, because you know mass of a body means volume into density. So when I say volume of liquid displaced into density of liquid displaced, that actually means mass of liquid displaced into G, and mass of liquid displaced into G means weight of liquid displaced, because you know W is equal to M into G. So finally we can say that upthrust is also equals to weight of liquid displaced. Okay, now to understand, now this derivation is very important, you should practice. Again, to explain you that what do you mean by weight of liquid displaced, it is simple. And this is what Archimedes principle explain. I'll tell you next after this. But still, upthrust means weight of liquid displaced means, suppose the weight of this body is 10 Newton, and when it is immersed in liquid, now it will be lighter due to upthrust, because here weight means only 10 Newton acting downward, and here weight is showing to be 8 Newton. Why you know? Because in this case there is an upthrust acting of 2 Newton and the weight of the body acting is how much? 10 Newton. So finally the apparent weight of the body becomes 10 Newton minus 2 Newton, that is 8 Newton, and therefore the body appears to be lighter. Understand? Now imagine that this is an Eureka can, and I have still now I have not immersed it. Now I keep a container here, I displace this, means I immerse this body now. Now my observation is weight is 8 Newton, but as soon as I dip it, the body displaces some liquid, and that overflow liquid will automatically come out from there. This is known as Eureka can, this type of can. Eureka means, you know, I have got it. And Archimedes principle, after getting this concept of this upthrust, he used the first word Eureka. Eureka means I have got it, and therefore this can is known as Eureka can. And now you can understand that this is the displaced water or displaced liquid. Now if I weight this liquid, the weight of the liquid will be 2 Newton. So upthrust is equal to this. So that is what we have done. Upthrust is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced. Understand? Okay, now we'll do Archimedes principle. Now just now what I have explained you, that is Archimedes principle, the concept of Archimedes principle. Now it states what? It states that when a body is immersed partially or completely in a liquid, it experiences an upthrust, and that upthrust means also, you know, loss of weight, which is always equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. So therefore whatever will be the upthrust experienced on the body, or whatever will be the loss of weight, that will be equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body. Okay. So that is called Archimedes principle. So experimentally we can verify like this with a setup. Just try to understand. Now suppose if you weight this body in air, so normally, okay, with a spring balance, okay, so suppose weight of the body, weight in air we can say, when we say normally when we are weighting in air. Now suppose the weight of the body in air is 300 gf, okay, 300 gram force. And now we have taken an Eureka can, okay, an Eureka can like this, and then we place a measuring cylinder, with milliliter, the measuring cylinder has a marking milliliter, so that we can understand the volume of the liquid displaced. And initially it has water up to the nozzle like this, and now if I place this inside water or inside the liquid or water, here we are verifying with water. Now if I put this inside, immerse it, means fitted with a spring balance. So now the spring balance read, that means we can say weight in water. Now suppose we will see the weight in water will be less. So suppose the weight in water is coming as 200 gf. And when as soon as we have immersed this, water overflows, and that overflowed water, that displaced water is collected here, and we'll measure the volume by this marking. Suppose, and this is 100 milliliter, okay, 100 milliliter. So from here, first of all, what we can understand, loss of weight, and this loss of weight is upthrust. Now how much loss of weight or upthrust is in fact is equal to 300 minus 200 gf, that is 100 gf. Now let it be number 1. Now we have seen that volume of water, we got how much? Volume of water displaced. Now volume of water displaced is 100 milliliter according to our observation. And 100 milliliter means 100 centimeter cube, because 1 milliliter means 1 centimeter cube. We know density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So in CGS it is 1 gram per centimeter cube, because we are applying all CGS unit. So density of water, it is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So volume of water is this, density of water is this. So from here we can say that mass of water displaced is volume into density, right? The volume is how much? 100 centimeter cube, and density is how much? 1 gram per centimeter cube. And therefore I can say it is 100 gram, and if mass is 100 gram, and therefore we say what? Weight of water displaced is 100 gf, okay, right? Because if a mass is 100 gram, then we say weight is gf, 100 gf. If mass is kg, then we say weight is kgf. So if a mass of a body is 5 kg, we say weight of the body is 5 kgf. Here the mass of the body is 100 gram, and therefore the weight of the water displaced is 100 gram, 100 gram force 2. So now from 1 and 2, what we can say? From 1 and 2, we can say that the loss of weight or upthrust is equal to the weight of water displaced. So that is what Archimedes principle states, that it states that when a body is immersed partially or completely in a liquid, it experienced an upthrust or loss of weight, and which is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. Okay, so this is the first part is finished, Archimedes principle, and the next part is relative density. So I'll come up with my next videos. Okay.